When was the last time you took a leap of faith, trusting that everything is going to work out? Do you crave growth, or are you merely content with the status quo? If you want more out of your life, out of your career, and out of your relationships, you are in the right place. Take the leap and discover how to create a life by design rather than living it by default. Real success starts with you. Now here's your host, Colleen Biggs.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Take the Leap. I am your host, Colleen Biggs, and today we have a very special guest because in the Leap community and my coaching clients, we're always talking about authority, expertise, and here I find someone. Her name's Carden, and everything that she does is encompassing the expert in you, her brand, her programs, her podcast, her books. And I was like, how perfect would it be for Ann to come on and talk to us about what does it mean to be the expert in you? So we are super excited I say we, like I have a frog in my pocket. I don't have a frog in my pocket, but I say we because I'm talking about you as my listeners. I feel like you're with me here as the audience listening. And Ann is our expert today who's going to teach us something, give us tools, give us tricks on what we can do to be our own expert. But before I do that, as you all know, we have a sponsor for today's show. So I'd like to thank Phoenix Drone Pros for being our sponsor. And at Phoenix Drone Pros, we love what we do and are passionate about each and every drone photography and video shoot. We've been in business since 2017. Our talent and skills shows in the video production we deliver. We offer fast service for commercial real estate, movies, events, and construction site monitoring across the United States. We also provide drone virtual tours that are all the rage right now. These virtual tours are great for team building and entertainment. Contact us today at phoenixdronepros.com to schedule your shoot online or to get information of anything that you need. They capture everything. So excited to be able to have them as our sponsor today. Thank you, Phoenix Drone Pros. All right, y'all are in a treat for today. The CEO, Carden Inc., and the expert in you brand and programs, Carden is here today to talk to us about strategic business growth, consulting, coaching. She has over 42 years of business, marketing, and sales experience. Let me back up and say that one more time. 42 years. And she's only 41 years old, so go figure. 13 years in corporate business management and 32 as an entrepreneur, building and selling 5 previous businesses. She's a 3-time author and #1 best-selling author of Expert in You. Build a lucrative and impactful coaching and consulting business from your expertise. She is the podcast host of Expert in You podcast. And Ann, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Colleen. I'm super excited to be here with you. Hi, everyone. It's great to be here.
I have to know, 32 years ago, you left corporate and started your first business. 32 years ago, to walk out of corporate America and start a business, I would say was not the norm. So Let's talk about that for a minute, because many people struggle today just leaving corporate America.
Yes. So it wasn't actually to start a business. It was to be a stay-at-home mom. So I had kids and they were little, and I knew I was in retail management, and I worked horrendous hours and long hours. And I knew that I did not want my kids to be raised by daycare, by a sitter. And so I made the decision that I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. So I left that career. We made a move from California to the Midwest. We're from the Midwest. So that's kind of where our home is. And we moved back and we moved out into the country, and there was no opportunity for me to work. So my husband's paycheck just didn't quite cut it. It just wasn't enough. I couldn't stretch another dime or another nickel out of his paycheck, and I started looking for a way to make money. So that is how my first business started. I say that, Colleen, but kind of a funny story. I probably was 7 when I first became an entrepreneur because I sold craft classes to the neighborhood kids and I charged them.
That's awesome.
It was so funny that actually came out on a podcast. Somebody said, "When did you start your first business?" And, were you a kid? And I started thinking about that and I thought, oh my gosh, I was, but I never really thought about that until that came up. So yes, I started my first business. I wanted to just make some money to help out my family. And that was before the technology we have today. I didn't have the internet. I didn't even have a computer. We didn't have that 32 years ago. Right. And that business went global, and I was making creative dolls, and I was shipping those dolls all over the world. And I employed several other moms who were I was also helping them with their families. So that was really cool.
I love that.
Yes, that was my first business.
I had a friend, now that you brought that up, I have several entrepreneur friends, but one I can think of way back. She started a breastfeeding cover and used, kind of built one and did one herself. And then she started employing other moms to sew them and create them because it took off. She created a brand from it. And as we all know, those are super important for when you're in public. And she had it to where you could see the baby because of the way the bone would go around the top. It kind of created a halo. So you could see the baby instead of it just being totally covered and you having to constantly peak. So anyway, I just thought that was really cool. And she did the same thing, employing a bunch of other mothers. So congratulations on that, because what a way to share the wealth and get the help that you need and roll in other moms into that so you could scale that business. Yes. And that's the key on scaling, everyone, by the way. We talk about that a lot, which is you've got to buy more time, and to buy more time and duplicate your time is to have someone else doing what you're doing at the same time you're doing it, or doing other things so you can do something else. So, okay. So let's get into this a little bit further. So, so you're running this business, your kids are growing up. What is the shift that happens for you to move into being like a growth consultant and working with, businesses and entrepreneurs and deciding, you want to be a speaker and a podcast host? Do you remember what year that started or what prompted it? Did you go to a conference? Did you meet somebody? There was a shift somewhere.
I remember exactly what started it. So I didn't even know coaches existed. I didn't even have any idea. I was running businesses. I was running brick and mortar businesses. I had 4 of them at one time. In fact, I expanded during the 2008 recession, took out a big loan, expanded, and then opened 3 more businesses from the one that I had. So really went all in, took a big risk. And 2 of the businesses were in a completely different area. It was a different location. It was an hour from the other 2. So here I am running back and forth and making myself crazy. And I couldn't get those other 2 businesses. I had team in place. I had people running both businesses, but I couldn't get those 2 businesses profitable. They were just breaking even, but I was also racking up credit card debt for marketing and things. And I just could not get the businesses making money. So my other 2 businesses, which were health clubs and weight loss centers, they were kind of supporting that business with the marketing and everything. And I was really exhausted. And my husband said, something's got to give here. So I hired my first business coach because I knew how to run good businesses. I did not know how to get people through the door in the way that I needed to get people through the door, or we were getting the wrong people. Like I just didn't understand the target audience with the right marketing medium. So we were a high-end club. And one of the things I was doing was kind of running, it wasn't a penny saver, but it was kind of like a coupon type of magazine. And I was running these ads, but I was getting the wrong people. Well, it's because I was running in a coupon magazine, but I didn't understand all that at the time. So I hired my first business coach, and she was a brilliant marketer. She was a Dan Kennedy client, had worked with him for years and had built solid businesses. And she showed me how my marketing was my problem. It wasn't the business model or anything I was doing. And that was such a game changer to me. Oh my gosh, because for years, Colleen, I burned up money in marketing. the hundreds of thousands of dollars that I wish I had back in marketing. And I would hire marketers, I would hire agencies to market my clubs. And the interesting thing is my competition was copying my marketing and it wasn't working for me. So I'm sure it wasn't working for them, which is don't ever copy your competition because you don't really know.
That's right.
But I just burned up money. And I remember I would run these, full page newspaper ads that were $1,500 back then. And we would wait for people to come through the door. And I remember telling my employees over and over again, I should have just thrown that money in the street and let the cars run over it. Or I should have just thrown that money in a trash can and lit it on fire. Like that's how bad it was. So this particular coach was amazing. And she showed me what was wrong in my marketing, turned me around in 30 days. Literally, that's how fast it was. But it was such a game changer for me. I thought, oh my gosh, I want to do this. Like this could be my next thing. So I literally became such a student at that time of marketing. I was already doing sales. I already knew business, but I went even deeper into learning more about business and marketing, anything and everything I could get my hands on. And I had an hour drive in between the two locations. So, there was always something in my car, CDs at that time, in my car that was teaching me and I was learning. And then I started running marketing workshops and teaching business owners how to market. And I also realized they didn't understand the business side the way they needed to, and how to be profitable and how to structure their business in a way that they weren't killing themselves. And that is really how I fell into becoming a business growth consultant coach. So I'm very different in the fact that I do all aspects of business. Yeah. So I don't just do strategy and then I don't know anything about marketing. I really became very, very good, I should say, at all those pieces because it's everything that businesses need. And I was already building my businesses, networking and speaking and doing those things. And it was easy to step into that whole coaching consulting arena. So that was how I started. And it really took off. I didn't have any kind of a process. I can talk about that. It was kind of a disaster when I first started as far as like what I know now, but I was just helping business owners. I would just say, I can help you and let me show you how I can help you. And I started getting really amazing results with them. And I knew that this is what I really wanted my next thing to be. So I sold those other businesses and stepped into it full time. So
that's beautiful. I love that you said that you, took the time in between to listen and learn, become a student of the person that had taught you the changes. And then you paid it forward and you were thinking there's got to be other business owners out there. If these other people are copying my marketing, they don't know how to market either. They have no idea. Right.
Exactly.
And unless they're a franchise where the franchise company is teaching them how to market, telling them what to do, have proven, ways to do that marketing, everyone's just out there trying to figure out on their own. So that was a beautiful pay it forward to give to other business owners and say, hey, I'm going to run a workshop because this is where I struggled. And that's a heck of a lot cheaper than hiring a business coach to learn in a workshop of how to do the marketing, right?
Right.
That's a lead gen for you. Because anyone that learns from you is going to say, hey, I could use your help in my business to help me do the marketing and the strategic business consulting side, right? So
I did make a lot of mistakes though. I would get them to pay me to come to the workshop. So it would be a live local workshop and I would invite all these business owners and I would charge them a few $100s to come to that workshop. So it was a nice payday. I would make $5,000 or $6,000 in a day doing that. But then I didn't have anything on the back end to sell them. So there were just a lot of things I did wrong. That I had to learn.
What I just said.
Yeah.
Because she didn't use it as a lead gen, but it is an ideal lead gen because
absolutely. Now I do that.
Yes. Now you're giving them everything that they need, and most people can't then take that and apply it. Some of them can, but many are like, now I need the guidance, and there's other areas in my business I could use help with. So you said when you launched your business, it really wasn't set up. I know you have a full consistency of brand. Between the book you wrote, Expert in You, your podcast, Expert in You, your programs, expert in you. You've really great consistency of brand. So tell me when you launched, what were some of the mistakes you made? I think that will really help the listeners understand, especially because I have women and men that listen to this that are in those infancy stages. Some of them are wanting to launch a business. They're just, still dancing and doing some dancing with fear and doing laps around the anxiety pool still. But
right.
So tell me, what were some of those mistakes that you wish you would have known, back then?
I made so many. And, coming into the coaching and consulting space was a completely different animal from running the brick and mortar businesses and even from my first business, because now it was a professional type of business where I was selling basically myself, my services, right? And so the first thing I did when I brought in business owners is I didn't have any kind of a real program or anything to really sell them. I just told them, I think I can help you in your business. Now, here's the thing. I ended up helping them in the craziest ways. So I remember one of my first clients we were kind of in the recession. And she was struggling. She had a real estate company. And I remember she was considering going into partnership with another company, but she had spent 20 years building her own brand, her own company. And I remember consulting her. I did more consulting. And I told her all the reasons why I felt that was a bad idea, just from all of my experience. And I had sold businesses, so I already understood that piece of it. And I really remember talking to her and not trying to convince her, but telling her all the reasons why I did not think that was a good move for her. Well, long story short, she did it anyway, because I only worked with her 90 days. And that was my thing. I'll work with you 90 days. And she ended up going that direction. And long story short, they ended up in a lawsuit, a year later. But that was sort of my first interaction with my clients. I would help them with whatever they needed. So if that meant I was a confidant, I remember one of my clients, I was helping him with his marketing, but then all of a sudden he was thinking about investing in this other business. And so then I'm giving him guidance and ideas on that business. And so it was all over the place. It was just, there was no process. And it wasn't until I made the decision. I was running around to a lot of my clients' businesses. It was local. I felt like I'd created this whole other job for myself, and I'm running all over, and I'm an hour away from most of my clients. So now I've got all the drive and everything. And I quickly realized, okay, this isn't what I want. I didn't sell those other two brick and mortar businesses to be tied down again. So I started redesigning the way I was doing my business. And even working with small business owners, I kind of fell into the contractor niche where I was working with a lot of trades, a lot of contractors. In fact, I would speak at their associations, and I brought in more clients. And this was after I'd kind of changed what I was doing, and I got more clear about what I was going to help them do in their business. But I would do things like go speak, and then I would bring them in. And if it got to the point where I was doing everything virtually, and if they wanted me to go and visit their business or be in their business, I would not take them on as a client. So I started setting those boundaries and just explaining, this is how I work. I do not want to be tied down. I don't want to be run into your office. I don't want to be doing any of those things. So I started redesigning how I wanted my business to be. So two things there. You need some sort of a process in a way that people understand what they're buying, and a process that you take people through. But you also need to design your business in the way that it really lights you up and aligns
serves
with you.
Yeah.
That's the beautiful thing about being an entrepreneur and what we have today. I mean, it's
totally true. And so many entrepreneurs make the mistake, especially coming out of corporate America. They will go straight into creating a job for themselves and kind of replicating where they were before. And that's wrong. Totally wrong. And I love that you said to not be the jack of all trades and the master of none, right?
Right.
You have a skill set, a knowledge, wisdom. You have an area in which you're known for, right? If you have
Yes.
the right marketing and the right messaging, and I always say there's a problem that exists, you know how to solve the problem, you can share how you're the bridge, and then there's got to be a call to action to tell them what to do next. Right?
Yes, absolutely.
So whatever that problem is that you're solving, be that person for them instead of, oh, you want to buy property? Let me talk to you about buying property. Now, if one of my clients say, oh, you just bought some property, I wanted to know a little bit more about that. As a friend, I'll tell them this is how I did it. This is what I did. This is why I did it. Or if I had an Airbnb, or I bought some homes. So I've talked to them about that, but I focus on specific areas with my clients, knowing that that's the areas that I'm strong in, that I can give good advice in, coach in, and be able to guide them. And every type of business coach is different. And I think it's important for when they're interviewing a business coach or a business consultant or a strategic consultant, whatever that might be, that they ask a lot of questions to really understand how that person's going to be able to serve them. We have to remember that. That's why I never think any coaches out there are competition, because you're not going to attract the same people.
Right.
Yeah. You're not going to attract the same people. Yeah. It's why I wrote the book, Step into the Spotlight, to expand your influence and attract the right clients. You have to attract the right clients. Go ahead, Ann.
Well, you also bring up a really good point too, when you're talking about be very specific and kind of, you're basically saying, stay in your lane. So this is what you're good at, and this is what you sell. But I see this a lot of mindset coaches. So I work with a lot of mindset coaches. I work with a lot of business coaches and professionals. And one of the things that I see, and one of the things that I shift with them, is a lot of mindset coaches, because they're working with business owners, they'll call themselves business coach. Now, I have worked with clients that were super frustrated because they thought they were buying a business coach, hiring a business coach that could help them with strategy and help them grow their business. But then what they found out, it was actually a mindset coach that had no idea about strategy and couldn't really help them grow their business. And not that mindset isn't important, but my point being, be very specific about what it is you do so that your buyers are not confused and they know exactly what they're buying. So you need both. You need strategy and mindset to grow a business, but be very specific about that. And one of the other things, you asked me about some mistakes. One of the other mistakes I made is I fell into at first, I kind of fell into the cookie cutter system of how to build a coaching and consulting business. Everything was very cookie cutter. I almost like taught scale strategies before I really fleshed out my business, so to speak. And what happened, I almost quit my business at one point, Colleen, because I was so frustrated with it, because I went down that path where you need a 90-day program. This is what my first online coach told me. You need a 90-day program. So I'm putting together this whole program. But what I found out is I didn't get to work with the clients in the capacity that I knew I could work with them. So I was doing some surface level stuff with them over 90 days. And then I was sending them on their way to go find the next coach, when really I could have helped them.
Yeah.
So I found that I wasn't fulfilled because I wasn't getting to fully utilize my skills and my knowledge and my expertise because of the way I was sort of taught in the industry to build my business. So I almost quit. I was frustrated. I was frustrated sending my clients out because I had nothing else to sell them, and because I just wasn't taught that way. And I had to learn all of these things through a lot of investing and a lot of different programs and coaches. And it was not an easy journey. I did okay from the beginning because I knew how to build businesses and I knew how to help people, but it wouldn't go beyond a certain point because I didn't understand how to really build a coaching business. So I took a step back and I said, I'm not loving this. What's wrong here? Why am I not? Why do I care more about my clients' success than they do? And so all of those things, I wasn't bringing in the right people. I was bringing in people that wanted a Band-Aid. That wasn't what I wanted to sell. And so I said, I'm going to redesign this business. And this is the way I want to work with my clients. And this is how I'm going to work with my clients. And if that's not interesting to them or the way that they want to work, they're not for me. So that's another piece of building out your business, is really determining what do you want? What don't you want? And sticking to that and having those boundaries around your business.
I love that. I think it's important that we are building what we love and not what someone else tells us we should do. Just like you. I mean, a lot of money went in everyone told me you needed a course. I've been doing this since 2019 and I have so much content out there, and I'm just now creating a course and products page to put some courses out there of some things that I've done that are course worthy. And I had a course way back. And when I owned Lead Up for Women, and that course was Master You to Master Your Success. And I think it's important for us to remember too, to create courses of where the demand is and what people need, not just because a coach says create a course, right? Or based on you, if you don't want to work one-on-one individually with people like Ann and I really enjoy doing, having courses are great because they can flow through. And then what is the end game on that? Where are they flowing through after that? Is there a group program? Is there a community they go into? How do they get more of you? How do they stick around? I think those are very important pieces that you're utilizing. But, I love to work one-on-one with individuals, and some people will tell me, oh no, I don't want to work one-on-one. Okay, well then don't. There's no rule out there that says you have to. So those are some really important nuggets that we got today. Tell us why you've called it the expert in you, because the nuggets we've really gotten on taking our knowledge, wisdom, experience, just like you talked about, all of the things that make us an expert in this area. And then talking to your prospective clients in the language that calls to them because you're addressing the problem. Tell them how you can be the solution. Why did you call it expert in you? Where did that come from?
So a little bit different from, I know how you do your business. I have a very different way that I do my business and teach my clients. So a lot of people use sort of the value ladder approach, right? Or the ascension model. You sell something low or you create a little course and that's what you're selling. And then you have things beyond that people can buy. I actually teach a complete opposite approach. So I teach you're selling your expertise, your experience, your knowledge for a very high-end sale. That's your first. So a lot of my clients, $25,000, $50,000, $100,000, even much more. When you sell your expertise and what you're very confident that you can do, you can charge those high fees right out of the gate. You do not have to go the complex funnel, traditional way that most people are taught to build a business. You are an expert. You just need to know how to package, market, and sell that and build a business around that. So you start very, very high at the top. And then you really back build, and your next thing down is still high. And then your next thing down is, so our low ticket offers are what most people's high ticket offers would be. And so I always, when I work with a coach or a consultant who's already in an existing business, what's your highest ticket offer? They might say 10,000. I say that's now going to be your lowest ticket offer. So now when you bring in a client at your low end, it's going to be that. And so then all of the other stuff, if they ever want to do that, comes far later. It's because they can build a multiple 6 and 7 figure business with very easily. Think about it. $50,000 clients, you only need 20 people. So it's a much simpler, streamlined business. And the reason I went that route is I figured that out for myself, first of all. But the other thing is I was seeing a lot of people I was part of a coaching organization, and I was seeing a lot of people buy into the organization to become a business coach. But many of them had never owned a business. And so they're buying into this program. And what I found is they struggled because it was like going back to school to learn your thing. And then you still have to learn to build a business. And because I had a lot of people coming to me, a lot of coaches and consultants, which is how I started working with them, this company, I was having success because I figured it out. And they kept elevating me in front of all these hundreds of coaches. And, oh, look what Ann's doing. And so they were coming to me. And I found myself building their business, helping their coaches and I thought, I think there's an opportunity here. So I would ask these coaches, what was your background? What did you do before you bought into this organization and bought into this company? And they would say, I worked in corporate. I was in technology. Why are you not building your business around that? Why don't you become a consultant or a coach with something that you already know well? Why are you trying to convince people that you've got the business, acumen when you really don't? And so I started working with them and helping them repackage and redo how they were building their business. I think about one guy's sales. His whole background was sales. He had won awards in sales, and yet he had bought into, it wasn't the company I was with, he had bought into another business coaching company, but he wasn't getting anywhere. Well, why wasn't he getting anywhere? Because he wasn't a business coach. Why don't you just build your business around your sales expertise and work with business owners? And that's what he did, and his whole business took off. So over and over again, I was teaching people to do that. And that's really where the whole Expert in You brand stemmed from, is let's take what you're already an expert at doing. And on my book, it's Xpertise with an X. So it's, XPER. And the reason I did that is because I say we're going to take your experience, your expertise, your knowledge, your skills, and we're going to merge that with your X factor, which is what are you all about? Who are you? As what lights you up? And that's where that expertise with an X came from. Let's merge that, and then we get your sweet spot, which is where you can really build your brand in your business. So,
which is the formula.
It is
the Expert in You right there. I think it is crucially important that you take what you're so good at and what makes you stand out and utilize that, and not try to fit into, like, you're a square peg and you're trying to fit in a round hole.
Yes.
That makes total sense. I love that.
It's a faster path for people. It's just so much faster. That's what they don't realize. I see people out there struggling. It's like they're trying to learn something new. We see this with certifications a lot. I'm not against certifications, but a certification isn't going to teach you how to build a business. It's going to teach you a thing. And then you still have to go and get good at that thing, right?
Yeah.
And that's where a lot of people end up starting out with very low pricing, because they have to prove their concept and they have to. And so I'm like, let's start high. Let's take what you're already so great at and you can do with your hands behind your back. And let's let's figure out who the market is for that. And you can start out. I mean, I think about one of my clients, she started out with a $200,000 offer right out of the gate. And her first clients were the people that she already knew from her corporate experience. So it's just so much faster when you, in my opinion, doing it that way. If you don't have any expertise, then that's a whole different thing. But for a lot of people, they have that career collateral. I was able to take all of my business experience and help people in business. So it's just faster.
Yeah, it is faster. And I really appreciate you sharing that formula with everyone today. So you guys heard it here and shared every single thing that you need to take and combine that. And I'm sure everyone is wondering, like, how can I book a call with Ann? How can I talk with her? That's me, and I need to work with her. What is the best way, would you say, that you want them to connect with you? Where should they go to do that?
Thank you for asking.
Yeah.
You can book a call with me at acarden.com, and we'll take a look at your business. And if anything that I said resonated with you and you want to maybe redesign or rethink how you're building your business, we can have a conversation around that and see what that looks like for you. So absolutely. I also do always have a workshop coming up. If the whole premium client, those very, very high ticket, I have a workshop coming up in a couple of weeks around how to do that. And you can apply for that workshop at expertinyouworkshop.com.
Okay, great. And the Expert in You podcast, you can see that at Expert in You podcast. You can probably download that on any of your current podcast outlets that you're following podcasts. So Expert EX, it's spelled Expert in You podcast. You can find her on YouTube under Ann Carden as well, and then connect with her, Ann Carden, business consultant coach, on LinkedIn. So you can find her there as well and connect with her and DM her. Thank you so much, Ann, for being here today and talking us through how to really package that expertise that we all have in all of the years of what we've been doing, and put our best foot forward and put those programs forward first, and just come out of the gate I mean, it's exactly what I did when I came out of the gate. I'd been doing business consulting for 20 years before I became an entrepreneur. So that was what I've been doing.
It's a natural fit.
What I love to do. Yeah.
Yes.
So I didn't become like a wellness coach, or I have a wellness coach. I have a speaker coach. So I didn't become a speaker coach. And I don't act like I can sit and coach someone through speaking. I can coach them on what I've learned about speaking. And if they want to become a podcast host, I can teach them on what I've learned about becoming a podcast host. But definitely, those aren't the clients I take on because they want to become speakers or podcast hosts. I'm not the right coach for you.
Right. You're like me. I say, I can teach you how to build a speaking business, but I'm not going to teach you how to be a good speaker because that's not my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
And so that is, so I help people build businesses, right? So that's what, when we were talking about staying in your lane and all of that, that's absolutely what you're talking about. Yes.
Yeah. I love it. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, you're the only you that's ever been. You're the only you that's ever going to be. If you have an idea, if you're tired of working a job and you want to have higher ticket items so that you can do less with more, or looking to, leave corporate America so that you can build your own business, how you build that starts with putting your knowledge, your expertise, your skill sets, your wisdom, your experience together, and then packaging that up and then giving Ann a call so she can help you build that business.
Absolutely.
All right, ladies, we are so thankful that you were with us again today. Next week, we'll have another fantastic guest, I'm sure. And thank you so much for being here. And to all of you, until next time, don't forget, be you and be strong. Bye-bye for now.
We hope you enjoyed our show today, as our guests shared their secrets on designing their life by taking the necessary leaps to expand their influence and attract the right people and clients into their lives. To start these easy steps for yourself, be sure to visit www.colleenbiggs.net/freebies to download the 7 ways to increase your exposure today.